What if you had a $7 chance that suddenly turned into a life-changing $280 million lottery ticket? It sounds like an amazing dream, right? Well, for David Lee, this massive amount of money turned into a nightmare. You see, David had a tough time with the law before winning, and even spent some time in jail. Winning the lottery seemed like his big chance to turn things around with all that cash. But things didn't go as planned. How can what seems like the solution to all your problems suddenly become your ultimate doom? Buying those lottery tickets at a local store turned his life around in an instant, from constant struggles to sudden wealth. It was a golden opportunity for him to start fresh. During a press conference, he shared about his past and his hopes to build a better life with his fiancée and daughter. He talked about being a responsible family man. His younger years were filled with sadness, and family issues hit him hard. To cope, he turned to illegal substances and alcohol as a teen, which led him down a path filled with crime. By the time he was 18, David's problems had grown, including a botched robbery and a shootout with the police. He tried to straighten up by going to a reformatory school and later making efforts to change, but his old habits of addiction and crime kept pulling him back, costing him many years of his life. Things seemed to look up when he met his future wife, Shauna, and got his parents' house. But he was still struggling with money until he decided to buy 2 Powerball tickets on a whim. Given his tough situation, winning the lottery seemed like a miracle. At that press conference where he got a big check, he talked about his past mistakes and his determination to change. He called the win a poor man's dream come true, mixing joy with disbelief. He planned to use his new wealth wisely to support his fiancée and daughter.
I'm gonna buy Shauna a very nice engagement ring.
Aiming to leave his rough past behind and start over as a reliable family man and provider. The lottery win was more than just money. It was a fresh start and a chance to live without financial worries, which was completely new to him. He chose to take all his winnings at once and met with a financial advisor who helped him set up a plan to make $85,000 a month from investments. The plan was supposed to secure a comfortable future for him and his loved ones. David's life changed big time when he hit it rich. He upgraded from a plain old house to a fancy $1.6 million mansion in Florida, decked out with tennis courts and a golf course. It was a massive upgrade. Then he started gathering some super expensive cars. He picked up a Lamborghini Diablo for $200,000 and a Dodge Viper for $90,000. The Lamborghini packs a punch with its V12 engine and Italian flair, while the Dodge Viper brings that tough American muscle but also has some Lamborghini tech in its V10 engine, thanks to a cool collaboration during its design. This shift in David's life is a perfect example of those classic jackpot stories, where someone suddenly lives in luxury, showing off new fancy homes and cars that were once a dream. This is a classic case of sudden wealth syndrome, the stress and mixed feelings that come with getting rich quickly. Lottery winners like David can feel happy, anxious, and confused all at once. Coming from a life of financial struggles, dealing with sudden wealth is a lot to handle. They want to make smart money decisions, but don't always know how, and they face a lot of requests for money. Sadly, many lottery winners aren't prepared for these challenges. They might spend too much, give away a lot of money, or make bad investments, sometimes ending up worse off than before. Winning the lottery might seem great, but it can become a huge burden without proper planning. Edwards went on a huge shopping spree after he won the lottery. He bought a $1.9 million Learjet and hired a personal pilot to fly him between his homes in California and Florida. His spending didn't stop there. He also got a $600,000 house in Palm Springs, an $80,000 gold watch, a $160,000 ring, and a $30,000 plasma TV. He splurged on fancy designer clothes and rare collectibles too, adding to his over-the-top lifestyle. When Edwards won the lottery, it was a chance for him to reconnect with his daughter, Tiffany. She'd grown distant because of his past problems and time in jail. Winning the lottery seemed like his chance to be a better dad. His first call was to Tiffany, and it was full of excitement and promises of a better life. For Tiffany, this was a big change from not having her dad around to suddenly having him everywhere. As Edwards tried to get closer to Tiffany, things with his new wife Shauna started to fall apart. Their marriage, which had seemed like a new start for him, couldn't handle the stress of their sudden wealth. The money made their problems worse, feeding addictions and leading to a chaotic home life. Tiffany found herself in a world of luxury, seeing the good and bad of her dad's new life. Fancy gifts and a rich lifestyle couldn't cover up the real problems. Her dad's worsening addiction, his troubled marriage, and bad money decisions that were eating away at their wealth. Her life became a mix of comfort and chaos, watching the family's short period of financial stability fall apart. As Edward's money ran out because of careless spending and bad investments, the hope for a stable family life disappeared. Tiffany was stuck in the middle of it all, watching her dad quickly lose his wealth and health. The fancy life in their mansion was short-lived, and the tough realities of her dad's long-term issues came back, now worse because of his brief moment of extreme wealth. This story highlights how sudden wealth can complicate family relationships and make existing problems like addiction even worse. According to the National Endowment for Financial Education, about 70% of people who suddenly get a lot of money, like from a lottery, lose it within a few years. Edwards was part of this unfortunate group. His addiction got worse with the lottery money. Instead of helping him build a better future, it let him dive deeper into his old habits. Now, with more money, it was even easier for him to get illegal substances, leading to more damage. Edwards and his wife Shauna got deeper into their addictions, spending about $200,000 a month on illegal substances. This drained his money and hurt his health and family life. The illegal substance use destroyed the family structure. Edwards was often not around for Tiffany, leaving her with nannies. His addiction also ruined his marriage, making their home life full of fights, distrust, and even violence. Winning the lottery seemed like a miracle for David at first, but this sudden wealth set the stage for a huge downfall. What started as a big win turned into a major financial and personal disaster, taking away not just his money, but also tearing apart his personal life. Edwards had no clue how to manage his big money, so he made some bad choices with investments. He threw cash at things like racehorses and random businesses that all ended up failing because he didn't plan well. These bad decisions drained his money and got him into legal trouble with people wanting to get paid. At the same time, his personal life was a mess. He and his wife, Shauna Maddox, were both struggling with addiction, which made their money problems even worse. Edwards spent a lot of money trying to get Shauna help at a fancy rehab, but it didn't work. Their relationship kept getting worse, full of fights and stress, turning their once happy home into a place of constant arguing. By 2006, David Lee Edwards' whirlwind financial saga had reached a climax of near-biblical proportions of misfortune and mismanagement, turning his lottery windfall into a spectacular financial catastrophe. After winning a staggering $27 million in the Powerball lottery back in 2001, Edwards embarked on a spending spree that was as extravagant as it was calamitous. Let's start with the big-ticket debts. David slapped down a cool $500,000 on a mortgage for a plush residence in Palm Beach Gardens, where the high life led to high bills. But it wasn't just the mortgage gnawing at his wallet. The Ballin Isles Community Association was on his case too, slapping a lien on his luxurious digs over a seemingly measly $2,599.81 in unpaid maintenance fees. Yet in the grand opera of his financial demise, even the small numbers echoed like a chorus of doom. The plot thickens with the saga of his credit card debt. Bank of America emerged as a major antagonist, wielding a lawsuit to claw back a whopping $170,787.74. Imagine, nearly $200,000, swiped mostly on what? Lavish whims and fleeting luxuries each swipe a nail in his fiscal coffin. And oh, the business ventures. Our tragic hero poured a mind-boggling $4.5 million into two ventures as ill-fated as a Shakespearean romance. A fiber optics installation business and a limousine service, both drowned in the quicksands of his financial mismanagement, never to see the light of profit. Through it all, Edward's life was a roller coaster that dipped and twisted through extremes of opulence and destitution. From flashy cars and a private jet to a warehouse dwelling overshadowed by needles and despair, his story is a cautionary tale writ large, a testament to the perils of fortune untempered by wisdom. By the time 2006 rolled around, the once lottery millionaire was grappling with a monstrous financial hydra, mortgages, massive credit card debts, and business blunders that together wove a tapestry of fiscal ruin. Each decision, each investment became a thread in a cloak of debt that Edwards donned with the heavy inevitability of Greek tragedy. His story, embroidered with the somber threads of financial chaos, serves as a stark reminder of the volatility of fortune, how quickly it can be won, and how swiftly and utterly it can be lost. Edward's story is a harsh lesson about what can go wrong when you suddenly get rich and don't handle it well. It's not just about losing money. His whole family fell apart. His daughter and stepson had to be taken away for their own safety, showing how deep the problems went. In the end, Edward's life turned really tough. His marriage fell apart after a scary fight with Shauna, and he ended up living in bad conditions, a sad end to what started as a dream come true. David Lee Edwards' life took a sharp turn, from luxury to poverty. He moved back to Kentucky and lived a far simpler life in a trailer park, surviving on disability payments and food stamps. This was a huge change from his days in million-dollar mansions with fast cars. The warehouse he once filled with luxury cars became his shabby home, cluttered with rotten food and evidence of his ongoing addiction, like crack pipes and used syringes. His health took a nosedive as he and Shauna caught hepatitis, likely from using dirty needles. During these tough years, Edwards became isolated and filled with regret. His daughter Tiffany and stepson were taken into foster care because of their unsafe home. Although he tried to get clean, his past decisions and addiction were too much to escape. He lost all his wealth and properties. Everything was sold, stolen or taken by banks, and legal problems kept piling up. The twilight years of David Lee Edwards, once a $27 million Powerball jackpot winner, unfolded like a melancholic ballad of lost glory and forgotten dreams. From the pinnacle of wealth, Edwards' descent was precipitous, marked not by the golden notes of prosperity, but by the stark chords of hardship and despair. By 2013, 12 years post-jackpot, his saga concluded not in the luxury of a mansion, but in the somber confines of a Kentucky hospice, where he spent his final days battling the ravages of liver disease and the ghosts of past excesses. His health, long compromised by a fierce battle with addiction, substances that once served as misguided escapades from reality, was beyond redemption. Despite his late life resolve to quit illegal substances, the damage was irrevocable, his body a ledger of past abuses that no amount of willpower could heal. Edward's life, once bright with the promise of endless possibility, dimmed as his health faded, leaving him a shadow of the vibrant lottery winner he once was. Financially, the narrative was equally grim. The riches that once seemed inexhaustible had dwindled to nothing, siphoned away by a combination of lavish spending, unwise investments, and the insidious cost of addiction. The grandeur of his earlier days of luxury cars, a private jet, and an assortment of medieval armor, had dissolved into the starkness of financial ruin. His bank accounts, once swollen with lottery winnings, were now barren landscapes, echoing the hollow end of a fortune misspent. In his final environment, stripped of wealth and health, Edwards was a solitary figure. The throngs of friends and hangers-on that once surrounded him had dispersed, a retinue dissolved by the vanishing act of his wealth. In the hospice, there were no visitors from his past life, no remnants of his former glory, only the quiet, persistent reminder of what had been lost. His daughter, Tiffany, was left to grapple with the legacy of a father whose life story was a tapestry woven with threads of caution and tragedy. The end came quietly, a world away from the fanfare that had marked his lottery win. There was no money left for a grand farewell, no opulent funeral or sprawling estate to pass on. Edwards was cremated, his remains placed into an urn, not the vaulted tombs of historical figures he might have once fancied himself akin to. It was a humble conclusion to a life that had burned too brightly, too swiftly, extinguished by the very fortune that should have secured his legacy. Reflecting on Edward's life is like watching the slow, inevitable fade of a star that had once burned with a fierce, all-consuming light. His story serves as a stark reminder of the ephemeral nature of fortune, a tale that underscores the profound responsibilities that come with great wealth. It's a narrative woven with caution, urging a thoughtful stewardship of resources, the cultivation of healthy habits, and the nurturing of relationships that will endure beyond the fleeting dazzle of material wealth. In the echoes of Edward's life are lessons about the dangers of excess, the value of moderation, and the timeless truth that health and relationships are treasures no fortune can replace.